Hello, Warriors. I want to welcome our viewers from investing.com today. Hi, Brock, Ren, Ingmar. God's power. You should have known when we were going to start if you're omnipresent. Ite, how are you? So I'm looking at Dixie right here, and looks like it's trying to put in a double bottom. I think we're going to make new lows. So we started the week up here, and my guess was that the dollar made a new low. And more importantly, that while the dollar made a new low, which it hasn't yet, hello, Alexander, that US dollar yen would not make a new low. Okay, so far that's happening. This looks like we're getting some type of flag off a flagpole here. Not saying we can't trade. Blake talked about this number yesterday. 105.19 could even be, 104.80 in this zone, but I still think that the yen is not going to make a new low. Part of that scenario is that yields, I think, are it's very contrarian, but starting to get a little pressure on the long bond here. It's trading with dots, but when I look at 10-year, it's down pretty good today. I don't know where I put my 20-year. So here we are. This is the big story here. So I'm assuming that these two may bottom together. So this is a weekly chart of the 10-year yield at 53. One of our guests last week said we could get to 44, but not take out the spike low. So that's key for the US dollar yen long position is going to be, even if this works a little bit lower, it's still my contention that the yen bottomed last week. Oh, where are we again here? In fact, what do we have in the yen here? I believe we have an inside week. There we go. Or not. Let's see. Oh, we took out the high. So no follow through off this reversal. So it may not happen this week. The week's almost done. Be careful about having big positions into the NFP. I know they haven't mattered lately, but they may. Also, you have to be alert for whether or not Congress finally comes up with a second relief bill. They call it stimulus, but it's bailout nation. We'll see what happens there. And yes, it's just unbelievable. Silver. Overnight seems where all the big moves happen. And we've already kind of overshot this objective. If you just took it from call 11.5 to 19, that would be 8.5. That would give you 27. And we've overshot 27, 28, 30. Just an absolute blowout. Gold too. So if you've been listening to everyone at ForexAnalytix except me, should have had some long metals positions on. Okay, I thought we were going to put in some type of important top here. Completely wrong. Blown away, especially by the upside potential. Well, let me tell you something, DJ, and you've been doing this for a while. Okay, is you never seem to have enough on when you're right, and you always seem to have too much on when you're wrong. So it's always going to feel like that. Anyone notice that? Oh, I wish I would have been more aggressive on the trades that worked. And I wish I had been more conservative on the trades that didn't. So, the business could drive you crazy if you're going to keep having that thought rattle around in your head all the time. And how do I know it? Because it rattles around. It rattles around in my brain, and every other trader, has the same thought. So, but the key is to just make every trade just another trade. right? Yeah, nice. Okay, so S&Ps are coming off a little bit here. I mean, we're still sharply higher on the week. We've almost made new highs, haven't we? 33, 36, and so far the high is 3307. So it's possible. Yesterday, Ben Maldonado said that he was looking for a cycle high in certain markets, and maybe we're getting it in S&Ps. NASDAQ, you know, it's been playing with this pivot here, right here, the old double top. And I thought this was a false breakout, came in here and looked like a false breakout, and then it's back above it. All I know is if this is a breakout, and you guys have heard me talk about this many times over the years, that when a market is giving you multiple chances to buy a breakout. So if you bought it here, you weren't happy, but then here's your breakout. Oh, here, you could buy it here. Here's a test of the breakout. Or here's another candle 4 hours later. You could buy it. Oh, here's another chance to buy it. So when markets make things too convenient for you to react to what is a major breakout, it's not going to give you all this time to think about it. Mr. Market saying, yeah, I'll let you in at the double top breakout. You're a nice guy. So as you can tell, I'm skeptical about this and still think that we could get a high in here. It's going to take, yeah, so it's going to take some downside action. This would just be the beginning if we could just start closing back under here in NASDAQ. So we'll see what happens with the Dixie. We have NFP tomorrow. Maybe a strong jobs number will do it, but I'd like to see it make new lows and the RSI stay above 30. And what do we have here on a weekly basis since the week's almost done? See, kind of an inside week, you know, it's not even a reversal week. And then I've been looking for this red line to be tested. It's going to come in around 91.60 coming in here next week. So it's about, you know, from the lows, another 90 points lower. But we'll see. Getting to specifics, Euro looks like it might be putting in a double top. It still has done nothing wrong on the week. See this? Still too much momentum for me to be fading it. And it looks like this had a little stop hunt, diverged pretty good. So I'm neutral, looking for long positions or short positions in Euro. I'm going to leave most of these currencies here, but you know, even though Aussie made a new high, it's not that impressive. It looks almost like a third drive, doesn't it? 1, 2, 3, but sometimes on the third you could have a few attempts up here. So I think the next week, NFP is tomorrow on a Friday usually. 119, thank you. All right. And, oh, just one last thing. This looks like it blew off yesterday. You know, you had the new high. These were the old highs in WTI. And I still think there's going to be a pretty good break in WTI. I'd sell rips here. You know, got a little bit over 70 here, but look, you know, this almost looks like a false breakout. Took out these highs. Let me see what else was back there. Why this green line? Why do I have it here? I don't know. So we'll see. I think you sell a rally in crude if you get one, some type of retrace. We've had about a $2 break, so why not want back around 142.70? Give it a shot up here for a potential high. Back under 41, it's got problems. Here's your weekly chart. See if it shows here. Yeah, you have a nice little tail, And you may want to write this down. What would give us a 2-week reversal would be closing by tomorrow under 41.24. That's doable. Not that far away to have a 2-week reversal. And with that being said, I want to invite all our viewers to become part of our community. This is, besides great content by excellent technicians, a huge time saver with the team doing all this technical research for you. That's at your fingertips, so you don't have to calculate everything. We have a great chat room with professional traders in there. I just did a presentation for Forex Live, and Adam wanted me to talk about what I've learned doing almost 1,000 interviews or maybe more. And one of the things I found is that a lot of people do better in communities, and they have a tendency to rise to the level of the people that they're surrounding themselves by. So if you surround yourself with traders better than you, and I'm sure there's at least a few, especially if you've only been doing it for a year or two. And I also said that the average answer from all of my guests for how long it took them to make a breakthrough and start to get more competent in trading was about 4 years. Just like getting a university degree, or if you start off in a trade like being an electrician, you're an apprentice, a journeyman. Before you become a master, it might even be longer in those trades in 4 years. Might be more like a doctorate. So I'm inviting you guys to have this type of research at your fingertips. So Greg agrees that there could be another high here. 5 would be next week, that above 119. So that kind of ties in. So this is how I use it. Before I started, well, everything I've talked about, I haven't gone and looked at recent chart action by some of our team. And I was talking about, I think there's another low in the Dixie, and then I go to something like Greg's look on Euro, and it actually gives me conviction to be patient, not try and buy the dollar yet, because Greg was pretty good. And if he's looking for a 5, that means that's going to imply a new low in the Dixie. So, I use it for intelligence gathering, not just the guests that I bring in or that we bring in every day. And I have a great one today. Matt will be with us at DJ Thistle to talk about Ghost Month in crypto. Boo, Ghostbusters later. Anyway, that's enough for me. Blake, how you doing, man? You look great out on that boat, like you're having a great time, man.
Yeah, I am absolutely 100% wiped out this morning.
Yeah,
Yeah, spending a whole day on a boat in 110-degree heat. I mean, it is hot, and my
yeah,
kids were fried. I was like, I'm a lobster. So, but it
yeah,
was a really, really nice time. I forgot how nice it was to be on a boat. You've spent many
yeah,
days on those desert lakes, and
yeah.
they're really quite spectacular.
You don't feel as hot. You're in and out of the water. You got the breeze on the boat.
Oh yeah, I
You
mean
know
it,
what I
it
mean? You
is.
don't notice it as much, do you?
It really, really is nice, and it definitely is hot, but being on the water is nice for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. It was a nice day away. Just getting back to it, and I guess what I'll do is I'll bring up some of the observations that what I've seen, and I want to get started with putting together the bias chart, obviously, for our traders here. And if you're from investing.com and you're newer to this webinar, for many years I did this bias chart back when I was with MB Trading, Ally Financial. Then I let Paul Franco do this every day on the European crossover, and I decided to bring it back and revive it because it's such good practice when you're trading. It's basically just putting up your support and resistance levels, defining a bias. So when you're trading, you know when you're going counter trend or you're going with the trend. So that's really important, and knowing what important levels you need to be aware of. So we're going to work through all these charts moving forward. And, one of the big observations I've noticed with like the euro dollar is how the euro actually had a false upside breakout yesterday. We broke above the, 119.10 level, and then we reversed. And that's got to be recognized, because right now, as far as I'm concerned, it seems like we are in a 117 to 119 range now, right? This seems logical. The only problem is that with a false upside breakout, there's increased risk of a downside breakdown. Whoops, be like this. There's an increase of a breakdown below 117 now that we got this false breakout. So keeping that in mind, let's do this. Let's figure out, remove this. So right now, the 38% retracement comes in at 118.32, which seems to be near the low. So 118.30, we're going to write that down. Okay. And then resistance right now is 119.10. It's still bullish. I want to say like the overall trend is bullish, but we are near term kind of in a range. So if I was to try to buy the euro today, I think buying it down at the, like 117.80, 118 level might be the place to do it. That would be my opinion. Okay. Let's take a look at the pound. So the pound's come off a little bit from this really key resistance. Now I know we just made new trend highs, but if you actually, I'm going to pull that up on a 4-hour chart. I think it might be better. Yeah, we had some horizontal resistance here, around the 132 level. We got really close today. So like the euro, we might be in a bit of a range here between the 142 and the 38% retracement comes in just below 130. So, today resistance is 131.85 because that's going to be the high. And let's see where support might take us today. So a dip in the cable might take us down to now the 50% retracement comes in at 130.80. That's 50%. 618 comes in at 130.60. So I'm going to write that down. Okay. So there's support 130.60. Hold on one second, please. Hold on really quick. All right. Hold on. That should. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to pick up something here. All right. There's the Aussie. So we did the cable. Here's the Aussie. The Aussie had again. This is another false breakdown or breakout. Excuse me. And that comes in at 72.30. Right. 72.30. And then we continue to struggle while we're above 72 cents. And so that's gotta, we've got to pay attention to that with the Aussie. But 72.30, I think, is going to be resistance. if we can even get up there again. We're still bullish. However, we're, back testing, like this is a 38% retracement. We might come down to the 50%, which you can see some highs right through here. So that's going to be 71, about 71.60. Okay. And let's go over to the Kiwi. Okay, so here's the Kiwi. The Kiwi, I know we wrote this down yesterday, but I'm going to write it down again. 65.80 is support. And I've stopped putting in bullish for the US dollar or for the Kiwi just because the Kiwi is kind of struggling to the upside. Yesterday, I think we wrote the 618, which was 66.60. I'm just going to write these highs from yesterday, which comes in at 66.73. So we can write down 66.75. So I'm going to just keep that on range for right now. Let's talk about the dollar Canadian. So the dollar Canadian, okay, this is a actually pretty important chart to me. So what we did is we hit, you see this right here, that last rally, we hit 161% extension. That supported us at 132.50, right? Roughly 132.57. We went as low as 132.33, and now we're bouncing back. Here's the 38% retracement, but notice what's capping us at 133, basically 133.10, which the 38% retracement is 133.06. So I'm going to write down 133.10. Okay. The reason why I'm going to write that down is that's a 38% retracement, but that's also the spike low from over here. Okay. So right now it's bearish, but we might flip back to range if we break back above the 133.10 on a closing basis. So 132, what did I write down? 132, excuse me, 33 is going to be support. Okay. Let's go to this, well, we can do the peso. So the peso hit the 161% extension of this last move right here. Let's bring that out a little bit. 161% extension of that move, and that came in at 22.31. That's also the breakout point, basically, from the broken trend line. I know if you follow me via Twitter, you probably saw my tweet on the Turkish lira. That Turkish lira is pretty important for emerging market currencies, because if that currency goes down, continues to go down, we might see more of these, moves in the emerging market currencies. So for today, the US dollar Mexican peso bounced back and hit the 50% retracement at 22.60. I think that's going to be resistance today. Okay, support is 22.33. Believe it or not, I'm still bullish. I know the pattern in play got invalidated. That's just because I moved the stops to break even, just because that's the smart thing to do. But I'm still bullish the dollar Mexican peso. I'm going to keep it in range. Well, this is a difficult decision, because I actually should be bullish just because we're above this broken trend line, right? So we should actually be bullish, but what's really going to turn me bullish is a move back above 23, right? But for today, I'm just going to keep us on range, okay? Just because it's, until we get back above 23, if we do. Let's go over to making my way down. Here's the Swissy. So here's the Swissy, and the Swissy has held that support, which is pretty important for dollar Swiss bulls. That comes in at 90.50. Okay, resistance now, a couple spike lows right through here. So that resistance, I bet you comes in right at a 50% retracement too. Spike low, 38% retracement comes in at 91.23, 50% at 91.48. So I'm gonna, since the overnight highs is not much more than 91.10, I'm gonna write down 91.25. We are still in a bearish trend. The one thing that you gotta realize though with the Swissy is we held the lows, and that's, you know, important to note. Okay. Dollar yen. I have really nothing to say about the dollar yen. However, the highs here, you can see how the highs are now going to coincide with the channel resistance. So that means any rally back to basically 106.50 should find sellers now if we get up there. We are in a range in the dollar yen. Support, we found support at the 50%, but I'd give it down to the 618, which is 105.06, so basically 105. Okay. Dollar index. As Dale pointed out, we have held the lows. This looks a lot like the Swissy, believe it or not. This is the breakdown point we talked about, I believe, yesterday. So we still need to note it. 93.25. We're still bearish, but we have to acknowledge the fact that we held the lows at 92.50. Okay. US dollar, Norwegian krona. Now, like with the dollar Canadian and with it, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, crude is back below the 200-day moving average, right? Well, almost. But that's a little scary because see what happened with crude is we squeezed above the highs, like taking all the shorts out, and if we reverse from here, that's going to be very, very bearish. Something to keep in mind. Let's go to the US dollar, Norwegian krona. We're getting a bounce near the, this moves 161% extension, so that support's going to be at 890. We are still bearish, but you know, if we see crude somehow reverse, that's when we have to be paying very close attention to this downtrend line that comes in at 910. Okay. Let's take a look at gold. Gold is, like I said yesterday, the day before that. Look, it is a freight train. You get on or you get out of the way. That's it. Get on the train or just get out of the way. I mean, every day we continue to extend these gains, even though relative strength is overbought. We're not divergent. Notice we are higher in price, higher in RSI, as much as I didn't think we'd get higher in RSI. We're at 89. Oh, it's like 89.50 in relative strength. Are you kidding me? I mean, the next resistance comes in at 21, and by the way, that would be a 261% extension of this last move lower, and a 261% extension of that little blip. That comes in at 21.10. I hate to write that, but looks where we're eventually going. Support at this point is 2,000. Oh, we got data coming up. Weekly unemployment claims. Sorry, guys. It just came in. Hold on. You guys got to remind me that the stuff is coming out. Steve,
Yeah, I'm
Stelios.
mesmerized by your analysis. Yeah.
Stuff.
No, you're falling asleep by my analysis. I get it. I get it.
Jobless claims better than expected. Continuing.
They are?
slightly
Okay, so
down.
dollar yen got a little bit of a lift. Stocks are getting a little bit of a push up. Because remember, we have the jobs report tomorrow. So that's going to be important that these unemployment claims continue to improve. Right? So nice little bounce in the S&P. That has helped the Aussie bounce a little bit. Kiwis bounced a little bit. Dollar Canadian's coming off that 133 level. I actually, you know what? I'm going to set up an alert right here because I want to be notified personally. 133.05 is broken. And you know what I'm going to do really quick? I want to show you guys something. Since I can do this, being that I have admin rights, resistance we have marked up at 133.15. That was, and I'm going to make that change right now. Watch this. So if you, okay, so you'll notice this number changes to 133.05. That means once that 133.05 level is broken, you will get notified via text message, pop-up, or mobile app. You'll get a notification on your mobile app. So I changed that because I'll get notified being in front of my computer right now just because I'm in front of my computer. But if I happen to step away, I won't. Not with these charts. But with ForexAnalytix, I will because I have my mobile app on my phone and it'll pop up on my phone that we broke the 133.05 level. So that is kind of one of the benefits of using ForexAnalytix. These support and resistance levels, when they're breached, they trigger notifications as well. Okay, last but not least, we were dealing with the S&P. Okay, so the S&P, nice little bounce. Wow, we're bouncing back to 33.20. I could have sworn every time I've looked at my phone or quotes the last 48 hours, it said 33.25. And that's pretty much it. Okay. Now, Dale always talks about these throwovers.
Look how it held it. Yeah.
It did. So that means today's low is very important. So
Yeah.
I'm going to write it down. 33.08. And then
Closing back in the wedge would be a signal.
Buy the micro dip.
33.35. What's that, Steve?
Buy the micro dip, generational low.
The generational low you'll never see. Actually, I'm going to put 3,300 because I believe if we crack that, that's not going to be good for bulls. But right now, it's bullish. And good morning, Steve. Thank you very much for holding down the fort yesterday. Steve provided a lot of the overnight analysis with Stelios. He did the daily roundup for me so I could go enjoy the day because, we're not. I live in Arizona, one of the COVID hotspots in the United States, so we aren't vacationing. So my neighbors that our families hang out because we all kind of are very quarantined. They rented a boat and they invited us to go on the boat, and so we did it. And it's about the extent of my summer vacations is half a day off.
COVID hot spot, pun intended.
Yeah, really, and it's hot and just in general. Anyway, guys, I'm going to pass it over to you. I hope everybody has a great trading session. For those of you that are ForexAnalytix subscribers, I will see you on the daily roundup today. I will be here. And for the rest of you guys, thank you very much for supporting us and being here on the Face webinar with us.
Thank you, Blake.
Thanks,
Blake,
guys.
Good luck today,
Guys.
buddy.
before you go, since you mentioned the USD Turkish lira,
Yeah.
yay or nay? Look at this.
Oh, I tweeted it. It's a cup and handle.
You saw? Sorry, I didn't see it.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I
Okay,
tweeted it.
we saw the
I'd
same
see
thing,
cup
but I
and-
didn't see your tweet.
Yeah, I
Okay.
tweeted. I was like, I mean, look, you guys live in Greece. You love Turks. So that's sarcasm, by the way.
No, it isn't actually. I can tell you, I have actually good friends that are Turks.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm talking generally.
Yeah, I know.
Over time. Anyway, this is a bad joke. Joke gone bad. Takis, who's also in Athens, and you and Stelios both have met him. He's in our chat room. He was actually posting some stuff in the chat room about, a lot of Turkish bank spreads are getting blown out, and so there's a big concern right now about the Turkish lira. And I got this. This is from J.P. Morgan. I'm going to read it. It said a lot of focus on the U.S. dollar Turkish lira this morning as it moves over 2.5% higher, taking a lot of emerging market currencies with it. We've seen heavy outflows in the lira, hedge funds, and banks, but also in the ruble, Singapore dollar, and the Mexican peso. G7 has been a slightly different picture. Blah blah blah. But everybody's noticing that lira move right now. It's
To
big.
be
With
honest,
the dollar
Blake,
weak, it's still doing this.
yeah, and to be honest, Blake, it's an unjust comparison. I mean, seeing in general outflows against other emerging market currencies because of the lira doesn't make much sense, because I can tell you as a fact that Turkey has huge problems with its economy, and the main actual problem is Erdogan, because I mean, he wants to be in charge
Trump.
of monetary policy. He wants to
Putin.
be the president. He wants to be
God.
in charge of economics. And that doesn't work really. Although Turkey has an amazing advantage, which is the main element, it has amazing demographics, a very low average age of population. So theoretically speaking, well positioned to to prosper, of course, under the right economic policies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be interesting to watch the lira. I've never been to Turkey. It's one of those places I've always wanted to go, but have never gone. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Blake.
All right,
Thank you, Blake.
guys. Hey, thank you very much for yesterday, both of you, and Dale too. And I'll see you guys a little bit later.
See you on the
Thanks,
radio, Blake.
See you later,
Thanks.
mate.
Before we start, our friend Dulce is asking, how do we get alerted when the support resistance is broken? You can set that from your settings. If you're a ForexAnalytix subscriber, you go to your settings page and you can select which one or all of the three ways of notifications you want, which is email, browser, or push notification on mobile.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guys,
Stel,
before you get going,
Hey.
go ahead.
I just have one question about Turkey. With the lira being under pressure, can you still buy their hashish real cheap?
No comment.
I had a Turkish friend that wanted to take me there, and to where it,
Let
where
me
they
guess.
do it.
Was it in the
Huh?
70s and the movie was called Midnight Express?
No, that's why I'm afraid to go to Turkey. But from that movie, I was just wondering, they have a rep for the best hash in the world. So anyway, I couldn't, a guy that grew up in the 60s and 70s had to ask that question.
I
Anyway.
know I'm weird, but in the age of 40, I still haven't even tried it. So
Well,
what can
that's
I
your
tell you?
problem.
Me neither.
I think it would help you relax a little bit.
All right.
All right, guys.
So, what have we what do we have? We have Bank of England today. We had earlier than usual because of COVID. They've changed the scheduling. 9-0 to keep rates unchanged, and that was kind of expected. And also the big difference compared to May, compared to the previous meeting, was that the communication was a bit more positive. So they acknowledged that yes, there are risks, of course, risks to the economy and the general environment, but some areas are rebounding, like spending and the housing market. So it was slightly positive, and the pound did gain a little bit on the back of that. And also they Bailey kind of implied that negative rates are out of the question for now. So
like for 1 month or so,
for 1 day or so. But
yeah, or whatever.
The market is very eager to price negative rates, and futures, short selling futures had been above 100, so that was showing.
The fun part is that we have deeply negative real rates, and imagine if we actually measured CPI properly, how negative they would be, right?
Yeah. Yes. So
we're talking about negative nominal rates, but what really matters is real rates, and real rates are very negative. And yeah, I mean, once you go and stay in negative territory in real rates, it's really just semantics if you're also going to go in negative territory in nominal rates, because the result is more or less the same.
Yes, that is true. So that's what we had of the UK. We actually had construction PMI as well, beat expectations, 58.1 versus 57 expected, up from 55.3. So, overall, the UK is kind of in line with Europe and the US, where data is improving. We've said this before, what's going to be the magnitude of this improvement, because remember, PMIs might be above 50. That doesn't mean we're back to where we were. It just means that
it's more or less that we've stabilized and we stopped.
Yes,
really
exactly.
Down.
So that was data wise. Okay, we saw jobless claims out of the US, better than expected by a couple of 100,000, and non-farm payrolls tomorrow should bring the big kahuna. Remember, Donald Trump has tweeted a few days ago that we're going to get a big number, big positive or big negative, I don't know, but yeah, we're going to get.
Yeah, something tells me if he thought it's a big negative, he wouldn't, just tweet about it.
Yes, and
so I assume he means or knows or guesses or whatever that's going to be a big positive.
Yes.
Yes, he guesses a lot.
Yeah. Speaking of the US, we're continuing negotiations between Republicans and Democrats, and there is still hope that they're going to get some kind of an agreement on how they continue the measures that have expired already. As an example, the Republicans are offering $400 per week in supplemental unemployment benefits. The Democrats are asking for $600. It's like, they're bargaining now. But anyway,
that's exactly. I mean, ahead of elections, that's exactly what's happening, and not only in the US. It's like beating up war to buy the vote, right?
Yeah. So that's out of the US. Also interesting, Joe Biden will deliver his nomination acceptance speech from Delaware, his home state, and not Milwaukee as planned, because COVID is, bringing concerns and escalating. So I think better safe than sorry is the rationale behind that. And what else is happening? Trying to find something. No, that's pretty much it. We had German factory orders as well, big rebound, but remember that was a big negative as well. So all in line with a recovery now. And again, as we said before, let's see how big and how long that recovery lasts. But that's pretty much it.
With today's push higher, the cable failure, since you mentioned it before, is now getting very, very close to this interesting confluence of resistances at around 130 to 50. It's a 61.8% fib from the multi-year high that we had in April of 2018 to the low that we had in March. So I'm keeping my eyes focused on that. I think it's a big level. It might produce at least an initial rejection. The
If
euro
you go, Steve, if you
yeah,
go
yeah.
to our platform and show my macro chart on cable, I had had a excuse me, something wrong with my throat. I had a bullish bias from the spike low, and if you see, there's a big descending trend line, which is
Yeah.
somewhere around where you said, and you know, my bias is probably going to be changing pretty soon to back to neutral, but. Yeah, I think that's a good level that you said. 112.30.
Yeah, in general, I think that several of the dollar pairs are actually approaching some interesting levels, from which we can end up seeing, you know, a reaction from the dollar. Now, I don't believe it's going to be anything more than a corrective reaction, but, you know, nevertheless, this is something that can last several days. Of course, you know, the chances is that something like that can last several days if it's coupled with some risk of move as well, since that's definitely going to help the dollar catch a bid. You know, but we'll have to see. In any case, 132.50 is an interesting level. Euro USD did post a higher high exactly as the cable did earlier today, but it's also rolling over. You know, this 119 area is an important area of resistance, but I still think that this 161.8% fib extension at 120.25 can end up acting as a magnet before we see a deeper correction. So, you know, it remains to be seen if we're going to make it there. Definitely, in any case, for any of these pairs, very, very late in considering buying. I mean, the risk reward is, you know, extremely unfavorable to buy any of those pairs after this run higher. I think we're getting closer to the point that we're going to see, you know, some pullbacks that will offer, you know, better opportunities for somebody to actually short the dollar. Once again, more or less the same deal here with the Aussie. The Aussie is still toying around with the long-term descending channels trend line resistance. So, you know, I really wouldn't be buying the Aussie as long as it's, you know, proving incapable of, you know, puncturing through this, you know, key trend line. The DXY is, you know, somebody would jump on the opportunity trying to say that it's trying to form a double bottom, you know, in which case I will have to, of course, answer that, you know, in order for this to be a double bottom, it's not enough to just see a potential, you know, double bottom, but it's also to see price going above what is the first obvious resistance and breaking through it. So, you know, you can call this a double bottom if and only if the DXY rebounds like to 93, 90, 94, whatever this is, and then breaks through that. And until that happens, what is the most likely scenario here is, you know, a very, very short term period of a consolidation, you know, which has a very high chance of getting resolved in the direction of the previous trend, which is clearly lower. So, you know, basically, bottom line, I think this move lower in the dollar is near its completion. It's going to need to take a breather before it resumes, but that isn't enough evidence for you to be buying the dollar, because nothing tells us that there isn't one more push lower for the dollar before that happens. So I think, you know, I understand how frustrating it is to be in a market that's moving and not have a position, but that doesn't mean that you should be jumping on a position at the wrong time in the wrong place. Okay. Now, having said that, let me also open the question box, by the way. Should get some inspiration from there. Okay, yeah, metals, of course. I don't know how many of you have noticed. Silver is literally once again exploding higher today. It was at some point 6.5% higher or whatever. It has pulled back a little bit, but you know, it's still like 5.2% higher. Actually, yesterday, writing the end of day analysis, you know, we wrote that by actually reaching the 2660 area, silver completed the target out of this broad descending channel, and the next area of resistance was at $28. Now, I'm not going to tell you that I would find it unlikely for silver to be trading there within a few hours, because I think that silver is probably just beginning. I mean, you think that silver is expensive up here, consider that gold is above its previous high at $20, and the equivalent level for silver is at 50, and we're still at 28, right? Now, nothing moves in a straight line, but I have to tell you that I do believe that it's not going to take a very long time for silver to be at all-time highs. And that more or less means doubling from where it currently is. Of course, buying silver after such a huge move higher, it's a very tough thing to do, and you should definitely be waiting for some type of a pullback. But keep in mind that silver is one of these markets, especially now, that you might not be that lucky to offer you good opportunities. I still remember that after a couple of days breaking through the 19 key resistance area, I said, and we were still like somewhere at like 21 or something. I said that would be amazing to see a retest of $19 to buy again, although I think it's probably not a very likely scenario. Now that we are at 28, you realize how unlikely it is to see a retest of $19. It's not that it can't happen, but I really believe that it's a very low probability scenario. I think that being now at 28, can't you count yourself lucky to see a retest of 25 to buy something like this. Now, gold also remains well bid. Of course, the move has nothing to do with what silver is producing, but still keep in mind that I don't really see any type of resistance until 2111. 2911, a nice confluence of resistances between this steep ascending channel trendline resistance and the 26.1%, 0.8% extension of this last corrective move lower. First area of support I see is like at 1970, this little consolidation over there. You you can't easily find nearby areas to buy in the way that gold and silver are moving. But this is the name of the game, and you either want to play it or you want to stay sidelined. We warned in advance that gold and silver had the potential of producing massive moves higher. Many people were actually laughing about it. We even had people on this webinar calling it a bubble that has popped. I'm afraid that they really don't understand how these markets work and what makes them tick. As I've been saying for months, I don't think in my lifetime there has ever been a better fundamental environment for gold and silver ever. So I don't really understand why still people are looking for opportunities to sell them. But whatever, each one makes their choice, and they have to live with their trading accounts following that. Now we are seeing this slow drift higher in risk assets. Not coincidentally, you're going to find more or less the same type of formation here in the S&P as you will find in crude oil, right? In both cases, I consider it a likely scenario to see another push higher, an overthrow from these formations. Nice areas of upside resistance is the 3400 area in the case of the S&P. In the case of the crude oil, we have the 61.8 at 4480. We also have a horizontal support resistance area just above 46. Those would be natural upside targets, but I do believe that even if we see one more push higher in the case of both of them, is probably going to be terminal, and it's going to be followed from some kind of a deeper correction before we can see more upside. So in essence, in these markets, you also need to be a little bit patient.
Are those ending diagonals, Steve? Do you know?
Listen, they would look beautiful as ascending wedges.
Yeah.
If they were steeper.
Okay.
So what makes me a little bit skeptical is the fact that they're not steep enough. I mean, once you see this type of formations being rather steep, you know that the chances of them being terminal and then seeing, very, very strong reversals is extremely high. But in this case, the angle of the triangles is not as steep as I would like them to be in order for me to feel, very confident that, they're terminal formations and are going to lead to, a full retracement to their base. That's why the fact that they're not steep enough is what makes me think that there is likely one more move missing through them to the upside before we can see that reversal lower.
Well, when Blake showed it, he already had an overthrow, so it's already happening in S&Ps, right?
Yeah,
Just
but
hasn't happened in WTI.
there is a subtle but important difference between an ascending wedges overthrow and an ascending triangles breakthrough. So in one case,
Yeah.
I would be speaking about something like this, in which case an overthrow would be a very, very short-lived move like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In
Right.
this case that we're looking at now, I think that there is a very high probability scenario that what's going to happen is something like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. A little more extended. Yeah.
Yeah. So in essence, one more move. We're not talking in this case about an overthrow, but potentially one more leg. You know what I mean?
Got it. Thank you, buddy.
My pleasure.
I learn from you every day. Well, every week.
Likewise.
Every week.
We all learn from you every day as well. Some days it's trading, some days is playing the guitar, some days it's singing, sometimes
today was asking about hash in Turkey.
It's poetry, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
You're the jack of all trades.
I know you love that 618 poem.
I do.
All right.
Very, very true. But Itai says Bank of America is talking about a target of 35 silver. I think they're very conservative. If their time horizon, because you don't mention a time horizon here, Itai. So if their time horizon is, medium to long term, I think that $35 is a very conservative target for silver. That's my personal belief. Now, if they're talking about shorter term, yeah, I mean, it's a good target. Let me see, what questions have I missed? Buy more gold, yeah. Heads up 132.80. I'm assuming that had to do with USD CAD. Listen, having to do with USD CAD, I mean, I think that at some point we're going to get a very nice squeeze to the upside once we break through this channel. But, as long as we're trading within this channel, I'm not really eager to try to bottom pick it. You know what I mean? So, you want to be on the safe side. I would wait for a move above like 134.30. Now that a little bit time has passed, this is not only like horizontal support resistance area, but it's also where this channel trend line passes from. I think only a move above that would, make me more confident that, we're going to see a squeeze higher. If you remember, I showed yesterday also the correlation with the VIX, so that might not take that long, to manifest, right? Speaking of the Canadian, one thing I forgot to show yesterday was the Canadian against the yen. And the reason I'm focusing a little bit on it is because we have this interesting rectangle within this larger channel, and we're currently at resistance. Which means that at least from the perspective of looking at the Canadian against the yen, that's quite an interesting resistance area we're currently testing. So, we break through that. I think we're going to see follow through towards 82. but we fail once again from here, we can very easily find ourselves back towards 78, which is support, and why not even lower, testing these larger channels trend line support. So that's something that somebody might want to take advantage of. Grigori says he loves Turkish women. Okay. Platinum and natural gas. Natural gas, I already mentioned that yesterday. Natural gas has already broken to the upside. I actually have a position here. I got triggered actually when it broke higher. I was monitoring this for quite some time. I had mentioned it several times. Looking good so far. I think that we have a decent chance of fulfilling this rectangle's target, which points at a move above 250. 250 something to 260, roughly there. And from this point on, this 205 area should act as support. So, you get a retest of that. I think it's a good buying opportunity. From a risk reward perspective, it's going to be, an amazing opportunity. And if it works, it does. If it doesn't, you move forward.
Next then. And next is Matt Thistle.
Oh, okay. So we're out of time. Okay, got it.
All right, buddy. Anything you want to wrap it with?
No, it's okay. I mean, we have several
All right.
more questions, but what can you do? I mean, that's the
Yeah.
time we have, right?
Yeah, time, money comes and goes. Time is gone forever.
That is unfortunately very true. Although somebody would tell you, somebody that likes physics a lot would tell you
Yeah.
that this is a very linear perspective of time.
Yeah.
And, this is not the only interpretation, but for sure, as human beings, that's the way we perceive it.
Yeah. Well, I spent some time in parallel universes. So anyway, thanks, Steve. Matt, I'm going to get you all set up here now, buddy. It's Ghost Month, Steve. Did you know that?
It's what? Sorry?
Ghost Month.
Ghost Month? Why is it called the Ghost Month?
It's in Asia. Matt's the guy who told me about it, that they're superstitious in Asia about investing during the month of August. They call it Ghost Month. Maybe it has something to do with, honoring those that passed or something like that. But normally, since Asia is a big supporter of crypto, and this did happen last August when Matt told me about it, there's a shot for liquidation and a pullback. Anyway, thank you for being here today, Matt. Anyway, I'm asking you to unmute. Are you there, Matt?
Check. Yeah.
Okay, buddy. So the
And
share
then
screen.
I'll hit share screen. Okay. Can you see me now?
All right. Yeah, Dixie.
Okay. And
All right,
I've got
buddy.
a little
Take it
red
away.
line. Okay. Boy, so much to talk about, so little time, right? Each time.
Who
So
are you
thanks
going
for
to
having
call?
me again.
Ghostbusters.
There we go. So I'll finish off on the Ghost Month stuff at the sort of the end here. Got a whole bunch of charts as usual, and we'll fire through it. So just the general environment, our risk on, risk off sort of general viewpoint. This is our long term. I still think, said this, last couple times, been here, was looking for a strong economic event. And we got that, and we dissected that last time on how and why that was going to happen. And this very 1987 style sharp sell-off and rebound, which seems to happen after a breakout and test each time. So we know we're still in generally a risk-on environment. Something I have found interesting was back here, what do we got here? March 9th, when the sell-off started happening, I noticed this pattern.
What's a fractal, Matt?
Yeah, this kind of M shape and take off back up to the top. So here I was sort of copied and pasted in a few different ways where things could drop heavily, and then the projection was before May for it to bounce back up and to just kind of ride into election season. And we've kind of been seeing that now, right? We're up here. We have kind of followed the pink deadly fractal on the way down. and I've just kind of followed all of the other fractals on the way back
Is that
up.
fractal from a certain time frame period, or?
Yeah, it's all this. It's all still the same 1 day. So I was extrapolating from in
I
here.
see. Okay.
Yeah, and then I just kind of dragged it lower to pull the ratio.
You're very creative with your work.
Thank you. So, and we see everything here is the actual candle prices here coming up in the black lines, right? And everything is still working its way to election day. So this is really the best chance that Trump can give himself. And it seems that they are pushing the market that way. So we have our risk on environment long term. In the short term, you know, I think things are going to shake up a bit once we know exactly who Biden's VP pick is. But Trump is clearly pushing towards an okay election day.
You think that's going to work? Say S&Ps are at new all-time highs. That that's going to be enough for him to get reelected?
Well, I mean, after this just absolutely destructive sell-off, I think, you know, anything in this range up in here, even near highs, is a pretty, you know, a pretty good feat
Amazing.
of magic. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So DXY, I'm sure people have, you know, talked about the sort of shape of the channel and, you know, the pressure, the sell pressure on it right now. What I did was this strong here and this strong downtrend here is this pink line that takes it just straight down, right? And if you were to take this guy here, right there, and this guy here, look pretty similar. So if you were to kind of go like yay or like that, both of them kind of take us to this first line of the sort of falling channel here.
You know, you're the second technician that I respect that came up with it with different methodology. He's a elitician.
Okay,
but,
there you go.
He actually has a target of 58 long term in the Dixie.
Okay, yeah,
and I mean, you are. Go ahead.
It's very plausible, right? Because I mean, we've watched these two large sell-offs happen last time, and you know, something that's interesting is if we go back to here and we're looking at our sharp 1987 style move into a new bull market, if we were to kind of postulate on that again as well too, we have, you know, the top here near 86, you know, so we have our 87 event in here, and you know, she keeps going down and then rebounds, and then here's our what is this 9/11 type event, right?
Oh,
and
okay,
yeah,
9/11.
yeah, well, both of them really, right? And
right.
Both of those events just pushed it down. And
the only
you know,
event, the Great Recession gave us a rally afterwards.
Yeah, funny enough. And so the, you know, coronavirus and probably something on the backside of that, 2023, 2024, I would probably see, you know, another type of recession. So we had that 87 hard sell-off in here, but the actual recession didn't start till after, during the rebound. I want to say right in here. So, you know, coronavirus, pull back, a bit of a recession, maybe things bounce, and then we get like an actual recession. DXY hits its bottom and then goes back up. So I think that's very possible.
Yeah, you're
so
talking
what I'm
about
getting at.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So my general point here is that we're seeing, you know, when we're looking at numerators and denominators, that the USD side is pulling back here, here, and here. So we should be seeing that in other markets, right? Is the other side of the equation going to push, you know, the chart up, so to speak, as well as demand and other things like that. So natural gas is something we've been following for a long time. I just heard your other guests mention it too. I think I mentioned it a couple times, kind of in here and then in here, and we were just waiting for this whole pattern to break down. It has, and then we'll take the same one, and what we're doing here is we're highlighting my little blue bar indicator here, and noticing that we have this kind of big swoon into oversold. It comes back to overbought, it dips, and then the rally begins. So here, 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 with a blue, with a blue, with a blue, this green fractal pattern in here, 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 here is all very congruent, and it all somewhat comes off the bottom on a bit of a slant. And after its horizontal breakout here, here, and here, we see this blue bar print. So it's very possible that we're seeing the end of basically this natural gas bear market, and that any rally could very much be bought into this sort of, you know, either a 3 drives here, or this was kind of a quasi 3 drives and then consolidation before coming back up to it'll probably be $4 again.
And the question from an attendee, what is a fractal dimension of the structure?
I'm not quite what is
Yeah,
I'm not sure. The fractal part is just meaning that you know, everything that is big, you know, everything big and small is just a representation of itself. So you can find a pattern on either the 1 minute chart, 1 hour chart, 1 day chart, 1 month chart, and chances are there's the algorithm of itself of the market makers are just making certain patterns. The dimension part, I don't know, time maybe.
Yeah. Okay, buddy.
Yeah. So, you know, so we're, for the rest of this talk, we're just kind of looking at now, if the DXY is breaking down, is the numerator, you know, numerator and denominator things going to be confirming that. Gold has been doing that, as well as just the political and economic environment. I am going to, I think, you know, overall, what I've presented over, you know, the couple of years of coming on the show is usually pretty bang on. One of my flubs is that I definitely thought we were going to sort of see a cup and handle on gold before it went, and it has not. So I'll take that loss, but I'm still holding. No, I did not an actual loss, but I mean, you know, a chart loss. And what I see happening here.
What happens when you take a chart loss? Does your ego get bruised?
It depends on my actual positioning, you know? So let's say if you're looking at a chart and you're trading, like, let's say gold, buying gold and holding gold long term, you know, maybe your intraday or swing trades are just like margin trades. So, you know, you win some, you lose some, whatever, right? But yeah, no, my damaged ego, so to speak, would be trying to, you know, make a spot call and then selling or buying my position in it and it going.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
So this sort of kind of like.
So you're human. You proved you're human. Okay.
Yes, exactly. So I'm admitting my faults, and so gold has just been absolutely, you know.
Surprised me too, bro.
Yeah. And, you know, we could kind of have this bit of a flagpole thing that's not quite done, or an ABCD kind of thing that's not quite done. And, you know, silver, since making this chart a couple of days ago, I think we're up at around 28 right now. So we could still see this bit of a pullback and take off. But the point is these two are not exactly the same, but the same pattern is playing itself out. So really, you know, why shouldn't silver go to a new all-time high if gold is doing it? And, you know, platinum did it. If we were to look at platinum for a possibility that gold could do something like this, pass all-time highs and then come back down, we've kind of seen platinum did that as well too before going absolutely crazy. So I don't think a pullback would be a bad thing for gold. You know, I don't think the general economic environment and how coronavirus is changing, you know, economics right now, or not necessarily economics, but the economic environment is changed things drastically. So to see gold pull back and then keep going wouldn't be a shocker, especially because we have.
How much do you think of a pullback we could get?
Yeah, I'm not even going to speculate on that because I already made the wrong call at 18.
Okay. All right. Then how about this? If you get your dollar target of 60 or lower, where will gold be then?
If silver goes to 60, or no, I'm not following you here, Jeff.
Oh, if the dollar index goes to your target of 58,
right.
Where do you think gold will be when the dollar's down there?
I'm gonna guess that gold is past 3,000.
Okay.
Yeah. Bitcoin. So we had this, you know, kind of a big protracted distribution triangle-y kind of thing, you know, that really sold off hard here. And we kind of did another distribution thing here that was smaller. So what I'm taking here is sort of the midpoint and coming across and noticing that it got hit down here, here, here. And on the way back up, we actually saw quite a lot of consolidation under the level, unlike these two that just got smashed back down and have broken above. So really structurally, everything above this midpoint line is bullish, and everything, you know, right under here where all the support was created. So what is that? Probably like 8,000-ish. Anything, any dips, you know, that come back down should be extremely bullish for Bitcoin, and that in itself is bullish for crypto. If we want to extrapolate that and somewhat compare it to the last time, we had a bull market sideways and then a run up on our fibs past 50. Bull market, bear market, a little bit of sideways, came up.
Any
past
reason,
50.
since you're a crypto, you know, that's one of your bailiwicks, so you cover everything. Any reason why Ethereum has been outperforming and leading Bitcoin?
Haha, well, the next tab is Ethereum. Thanks, man.
That's my specialty, segues.
Right, is reading my mind. So yeah, is so kind of something that's happening, or I shouldn't say happening, that's happened in the past, is a lot of the time people use this word alt season. It just means like a time of year when all the altcoins like Ethereum, and especially more so the small caps, like, you know, the penny stocks of crypto, just go crazy. And that's where, you know, money can be made. And a lot of the times that happens when Bitcoin is like really sideways. I think it happened a bit in here and here. And then it also tends to happen after Bitcoin makes a new all-time high and sort of starts to chill out. So in here and in here were really, really good altcoin rallies. So there was more opportunity to make money and more Bitcoin through altcoins then. So what your question about Ethereum is sort of posing is that, is the bear market completely over with Bitcoin? And if it is, then we're going to start to see, you know, some altcoins overperform. And then once, you know, if Bitcoin follows gold, and if, you know, silver follows, and yada, yada, and we see Bitcoin start making new all-time highs, altcoins are definitely going to follow. And one way that would happen, for that to happen would be ETH, because Ethereum is, you know, the #2 and the #1 altcoin, #2 overall market cap and #2 overall coin in crypto, is that would confirm that. And we kind of have seen that happen. So, you know, anything above this sort of block here, I believe is structurally, you know, mid to long term, well, long-term in crypto is sort of a misnomer. So we'll say midterm, you know, structurally bull market could be happening. And if that's happening, then people, I think, would, you know, want to take a look at altcoins. And what I've done.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Ripple. I was reading something about how it's going to be the foundation for most digital transactions. I forgot where I read it or exactly what it said, but the guy was featuring an IMF lady or World Bank lady, and implying XRP Ripple is going to be a major component of when they go digital.
I mean, it's possible. It continues to stick around. It doesn't go away. You know, the Brad and the whole team is very involved with, you know, economics in general. It's just not some crappy altcoin that's staying in the background. You know, it's still very prominent and getting on TV, and, you know, they're doing interviews and all that kind of stuff. So they're in the public eye. So yeah, it's possible. This is a sort of a thing that I've been following. I don't know, I think 3.5 years now we've been following this chart, and it's just been perfect. So either Ripple has come up and is going to smash into this bottom of the yellow box, and then pull back for one last time for Bitcoin to go crazy, or it's going to make a break above here and then sort of follow ETH and Bitcoin and leave the bear market behind. So either way, Ripple is getting very close to its end as well. So the reason I popped on this site here was I've created this recently so people can just learn more about altcoins, and it's just altcoin specific. I've left kind of Bitcoin and silver and gold and all that out of there. That's all on this site here, coinstreetnews.com. So I'm pivoting this one to, you know, gold, silver, coins, collectible, Bitcoin, crypto, tutorials, things like that. And then the realaltseason.com is if people want to go to learn more about just altcoins, which is more speculative, which is sort of the penny stocks of crypto. And then we want to wrap it up with Ghost Month. Here we are. So what is Ghost Month? Well, when is it? So this year it starts on August 19th, and then Ghost Festival is September 2nd. What I've said in the past is usually markets start to feel things a little bit going into Ghost Month, and then the beginning of Ghost Month into Ghost Festival as well is usually on the bearish side. And then Ghost Festival into the end of Ghost Month, things can turn. And then after Ghost Month, things usually get back to normal. As one side caveat here is that Equinox is going to be right after Ghost Month ends this year. And that is a very big turning point in markets from a GAN perspective and other cycles. So Ghost Month is very big Buddhist and Taoist, I guess, superstition, tradition, festival. So buyer beware. So they don't even they don't want you buying a house, a car, or anything. They don't want you selling anything. They don't want you buying investments. They don't want you signing contracts. Basically,
Be
spirits
still.
of the dead. Yes, the spirits of the dead are supposed to come, and this can, you know, result in anything. Apparently, if you die kind of normally, you know, there's certain things that can happen, and then if you have like died through an accident or something tragic, you know, these ghosts may come back and try and trick people or do bad things. So it's, you know, to maybe a very Caucasian Westerner that has no history or understanding of what this, you know, tradition is, that's fine. It means nothing to you. But it also should mean something to you just as a trader. So just as a trader, you know, if Ghost Month is this big thing that they are, that multiple Asian, it's not just Chinese people that follow this as well. You see in Taiwan and Philippines, etc. So they follow it. They want to be less invested going into it, and they want to then pile on afterwards. So, you know, it doesn't mean that every single year Ghost Month goes down. I believe there was somebody that did a study, and it was like, you know, the market went up 50% of the time during Ghost Month, between July and September. But even if it goes up between July and September, 60% of the time, it still goes down for the Ghost Month part. So it's still, you know, pressure, right?
Okay.
And so what else is happening? Ghost Month is generally August. So what else is happening in August? North Americans are taking summer vacation. Europeans are taking summer vacation.
Yeah.
Chinese, Philippines, Taiwan, all these traders are taking time off. So liquidity is low. So whether it's, you know, pumping or dumping the market, there's just less market participants, right? So it's the time for shenanigans. So yeah, good timing. Here we go. So the blue lines represent this is a weekly chart, so it's not like bang on the daily, but on the weekly, we're showing the line represents the week of the beginning day of Ghost Month. So here we have a sell-off into Ghost Month and sideways, and then a bull market. So after this bull market, we had some consolidation, sell-off into Ghost Month, this 2 weeks prior, a little bit of consolidation and a return to the bear market. This was one of the rare times where we had a bull market into Ghost Month, but what happens for these, you know, for this month right in here? Ghost Month starts, it sells off, and we have a little sideways, things continue. This one actually does go up a little bit. Yeah. Okay, this one.
Good one, yeah.
Consolidation, sell off. Consolidation, sell off. Consolidation, sell off. In a raging bull market, a top that rolls over and keeps going. Consolidation, you know, a little sell off into ghost month and consolidation, a little sell off, consolidation, and down. So it's even in the bull markets, you know, we'll say, you know, if this is a downtrend line coming across here, that 1, 2, 3. So we saw 3 ghost months and 1 bull market, and each time it, you know, rolled over and gave us better buying opportunities.
Buy Casper on weakness.
Yes, and Bitcoin being very Asian dominant, you know, Bitcoin mining is very China centric, less than it was, but still over 50% as far as I know. And so the market participants believe it, and just because you don't, you know, not necessarily you, but, you know, I'm just going to say, you know, the blanket sort of Western trader, just because you don't believe it doesn't mean that it doesn't have importance in the market. So if other people are going to act on it, it's just a piece of information that is deadly, especially because this is pulling liquidity out of the market between North Americans and Europeans on vacation, and you know, 1.5 billion Asians taking it easy. That's a lot less liquidity in the market. Okay. So yeah, that's sort of my presentation this month.
All right, another great one, Matt. So
thanks, bud.
I really appreciate you coming. And what's the best way for people to, you know, stay in touch with you, follow your work? I
sure,
think
yeah.
You're one of the best I have on.
Thanks a lot. So yeah, so you can, my main profile here is DJ Thistle 01. This kind of covers everything and a lot of political commentary. I try and keep it neutral. I was very involved in politics. I used to be a candidate, a party president, a major fundraiser. So I was very involved with politics, and I just think it's all a scam. I made it high enough up the chain to just see that there's really no good people. So I try and critique both sides of the coin, and, you know, so chances are everyone's going to hate me if you follow me long enough. You can follow my gold, silver, Bitcoin, all that kind of stuff on coinstreetnews.com. And then you can come learn more about altcoins at therealaltseason.com. The pinned post here is kind of got sort of where the history of it all started was, and a good article on trading just altcoins here for people to check out.
Okay, DJ gave me a great joke to end the interview on. Why did the ghosts go into the bar?
I don't know, Dale. Why did the ghost go in the bar?
For the booze.
Oh, boo. Terrible.
All right, buddy. Well, good hunting. Well, let's get back together, you know, kind of around another scary time, maybe towards the end of October, huh?
Sounds good, right? Yeah, exactly. Every 3 or 4 months. Sounds good, bud.
Yeah, and thank you very much, buddy. Who do you like who do you think's going to win? You think Trump's going to win?
You know, you asked me that 6 months ago. I say without a doubt. You know, right now it's not looking very good. There's a lot of time left in terms of politics. This is eons, right?
October surprises, all that stuff.
October surprises. You know, so for people to watch out, you know, the VP pick is going to be important. When Sanders was really in the lead there, the market hated it. The market will like Biden more, but the market, it's probably going to be, you know, an African-American woman is generally going to be the pick. So probably Rice or Harris. I think the market would like Rice more than Harris. You know, if he did something stupid like pick Elizabeth Warren, it would be terrible. I think Hillary Clinton is supposed to have something where she's supposed, it's not like Hillary Clinton on trial, but she is supposed to give testimony for something, I believe, in September. So I don't know if that's going to change anything.
How about COVID? How about COVID?
Yeah, it's just a total clusterfuck right now. And it's really too bad because,
You're not in the U.S., are you? Yeah.
No, I'm in Canada, but I'm very close to the U.S. border, and the whole reason that it came up was because of Seattle, and our border is still closed, and there's no, it's not going to be opening anytime soon because it's just that bad. And the whole West Coast, you know, Seattle, Portland, and L.A., and, you know, Berkeley area especially, you got this whole Antifa crap going on too. Like, that's not good for the markets. Like, this is just openly, they're openly chanting for communism and have red sickles spray painted on their helmets and shields. Like, I don't understand how people are supporting this. This isn't, it's not about being capitalism. Yeah. Anyway.
It's crazy. Anyway,
It's
I was
crazy.
interested in your view. Thank you. Very stunning dollar call that you're making. So
we'll see.
appreciate those fractals you showed, Matt. So my trading warrior brother, good hunting, and let's get back together in the fall.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
All right, so that's a wrap, everyone. We'll see you for the NFP. Trade the NFP with us, and remember, don't just count your pips, even if you're a ghost. I don't know if they care about pips, but count your blessings. Adios, everyone. See ya. You're welcome, Sam. See you guys.